Hey everybody, this is Mario Ranchi, brand strategist and founder of Manufacturer. I'm here with a little video on profiling and why it's so important in your real estate business. And profiling or user profiles in general are basically figuring out at a very deep level who your target market is, who your most profitable target market is, who's the person you really want to work with. And the trap I find a lot of brokers and brokerages getting into is that they get into the trap of kind of understanding a target market to a very surface level, but never going deeper into like the personality or psychological aspects of it. And so they just are able to like define, baby boomers, a very broad target market, so to say, first time home buyers, veterans, all this type of stuff. And that's a great starting point. But when you start to realize is that it's very limited in how you communicate with people. You can't just say, I am the real estate broker for veterans, right? There has to be a deeper communication into that, because that just speaks to the logical part of the brain. And if you speak to the logical part of the brain when you're trying to communicate, or especially when you're trying to convince someone or to lead someone down the path to become your customer, the logical part of the brain doesn't always make sense. You need to appeal more to emotions, even the reptilian part of the brain, which is really looking for, safety, survival, and all this different type of stuff. Now, so that's the main trap that real estate brokers and agents and all this stuff and brokerages get caught into. They caught into just saying, our category is this. But what they don't actually realize is that they're actually talking every single time they put a piece of marketing out or the piece of content out or whatever. They're actually speaking to a very specific type of person. Whether they don't know or not, they're talking to a real type of person with a real name, with real fears, with real pains, with real emotions. Every time they're putting something out. And if they put something out generic, they will never be able to communicate at that level. So the best way to do this is to define a very specific person, someone that you already know how to work with, someone that you already know how that is a great client for you, for based on the deal size perhaps, or also maybe the personality or the psychological makeup or even the interaction you've had with them was really, really good. And if you can start from there and you start defining this person at a very deep level and you start understanding, their psychological makeup, meaning, what are they afraid of? What are their biggest fears? What are their biggest challenges? What are their dreams? What do they actually want to achieve? What does the house or the property mean in the end game for their own selves, right? What does that mean to them at the end of the day? And what's the mindset between them? Do they have objections towards real estate brokers? Do they have do they feel like they have a negative perception of real estate agents and real estate brokers in general? What would those perceptions be? And ask those deeper questions and fill out a pretty good idea of who that client is, and then apply that all to everything that you have right now. And you will see, just by adding or tweaking the assets you currently have, the website, the direct mail, all this different stuff, flyers, even your brochures or whatever, maybe presentation decks, whatever you have, whether you're commercial or residential, those things will dramatically increase in their effectiveness because they're now communicating at a deeper level, and it's really just getting to understand that type of person, and if you're trying to make assumptions, that's fine. You can integrate this within your sales process. You're talking to people every day. You pick up some things and you note them down, right? You ask questions in the sales process, and those problems come out during the sales process when they're buying a house, when they're buying a property, whatever. You note those things down as well, and you really get a better understanding of them so you can communicate better to them, through wherever means possible. And that creates a foundation for effective communication overall, effective communicating your value overall. So that's my tip for today. Hope it brings you value. And if you want to talk more about this, feel free to get on a call with me. I'm happy to discuss more about this. This is one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, have a good day.